today we are going to go over some cinnamon rolls recipe. I'm doing like a sort of practice run for Let's Get Baked with Michelle, which is starting this January. I finally decided on how to do it. I'll let you know as we get through this cinnamon roll recipe. So what are we looking at? We're looking at the Essential Homegrown Flour book by Sue Becker, pretty much America's first lady of freshly milled flour, if you ask me. And this book is instrumental to my learning how to bake with freshly milled flour. What I have here is the basic rolls recipe, which I made in my Zojirushi bread machine so that we can make the cinnamon roll recipe right here, which requires 1 batch of the basic rolls dough, a half a cup of evaporated cane sugar mixed with ground cinnamon, ground nutmeg, optional butter melted. Believe me, it's melted in there. I'm going to add some pecans that are toasted. And I've also made a glaze out of some heavy cream and some powdered sugar right here. And to that, I've added actually some maple flavoring because I love maple flavoring. And I've been really enjoying that on my cinnamon rolls. What's interesting about rolls in general is that they're an enriched dough, which means that we have ingredients that are more nutritious and have more fats and flavors like milk, eggs, butter, things like that. The lean, recipes for bread, like basic yeast bread here, we don't have as much like milk. We have an optional egg. We have honey, we have olive oil. This is the basic recipe that we'll be starting with in January. I'll be showing you how to make this basic bread recipe in this is the pan for the Zojirushi machine with the double paddles. If it has these handles on it, that's the Virtuoso machine. And we'll be learning how to make basically your basic loaf of bread, which is this bad boy right here. Ta-da! I made this one last night. So join me in January, the first Friday, live here on YouTube for Let's Get Baked with Michelle, where you're going to learn the basic yeast recipe. But today, we're talking about cinnamon rolls. Cinnamon rolls, basic rolls. You make that recipe in the Zojirushi pan, if you ask me. That's the easy way to do it. It's milk, butter, honey, egg, salt, your freshly milled wheat flour. I'll go over that in a second. And some quick rising yeast. So easy. When it comes to your freshly milled flour, I gotta say that I'm a fan of Vanessa Kimball. In this book, her the Sourdough School Sweet Baking book, she has a whole section on how to make a botanical blend with your flour. And if you are somebody who's freshly milling, look at this beautiful book. That's my teacher, Vanessa. Isn't she beautiful right there at her sourdough school in the UK? I attended her sourdough school in Tuscany, Italy, this last summer for my birthday. So here on page 55 of the Sourdough School Sweet Baking book, she talks about diversity score in your grain. Every recipe in this book has a diversity score. She tells you the recipe for making a base blend of hybrid, modern, and ancient wheats that are together. You can do this by stone grinding with your home mill, like I have a mock mill, or an impact mill, like a Wonder Mill or a Nutrimill. You can take a couple of different grains, hard reds and whites, and bring them together, and that will increase the diversity of the grains in your breads. She recommends doing that or just using 2 different kinds of flour that you can buy. And if you join my course, I will recommend to you different kinds of flour that I've tried. And then here we have the base blend, number 2, the Meadow blend, which is the signature blend at the Sourdough School, which includes spelt, einkorn wheat, emmer wheat, barley, naked oats, rye, poppy seeds, buckwheat, flax seeds, dried peas, edible meadow flowers of your choice, such as corn flour, mallow flour, or oregano, and a small handful of dried nettles. So that is something that I've pre-made here. She also pre-makes her own meadow blend as well. As if you're in the UK and watching this, I do have some followers from the UK. You can buy the meadow blend at an online store, an in-person store there called Hog Me Dads. So the meadow blend is something that I just mill into my flower blend. All right, so that is the premise. We are doing the cinnamon roll recipe from this book, but we are taking the ideas of diversity from the sweet sourdough book, and we are using the magical machine, the Zojiruchi Virtuoso, to help us. And all of that being said, when you're done with it, you end up with a dough like this. Roll dough. You like that? 12, 28, 20. I made this yesterday and I put it in this plastic bag and stuck it in my fridge. That is tip number 1 for all of you baking newbies out there. Make some dough up and put it in your fridge so you can use it later. This is a huge time saver for you. It will make your baking easier and also make your baking more flexible. So say for example that you ran out of time or you have an emergency or it's a half day at your school and you forgot. I'm not speaking from experience here or anything, but so for example, you can throw your dough at pretty much any stage into the fridge and come back to it later. That is a saving grace and one of the very first tips I want to have for my bakers as we get into Let's Get Baked with Michelle. So here's just a Ziploc bag, a freezer bag. Maybe it's not even Ziploc, probably not because that's a name brand. Of beautiful, multi-grain, diverse, freshly milled roll dough. It uses milk, butter, eggs, sugar. It is beautifully enriched. And now I'm gonna roll it out. It's already kind of square shaped, which is super handy for making cinnamon rolls. How big are we going with this? Oh gosh, I should measure. My lamp is right here. That's hilarious. I'm giving a new appreciation for the people who do the food blogging. Because like, I have never tried to roll dough with my lamp like right there. Look at that, beautiful. You'll notice that I didn't put any flour down. That's funny, right? Oh my God, look at this. I didn't put any flour down because my dough is pretty well greased from being in the bag with, I used some butter. Usually I use oil, but I kind of ran out. So I did not. Okay. We are definitely getting somewhere with this dough. We're trying for a nice big rectangle shape. And I'm kind of just stressing a little bit about how to exactly roll it, considering I just have so many weird things in my way. It smells amazing because I highly recommend that you actually rest your dough, let it rise in the fridge overnight, because honestly, it gives it a better flavor. Letting your dough ferment even a little bit, and even with commercial yeast. Letting your dough ferment overnight gives much better flavor to your bread. Allows all of your flour to hydrate, which when you're using freshly milled flour, getting your dough really hydrated is like a really good idea. Okay, so I'm just turning it this way because I like it better this way. Okay, look at that. That looks really good. Try to get it nice and even because the more like rectangular it is, the better. Look at that. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay, I'm gonna move this back over so you can see the whole thing. Dun, dun, dun. Thank you so much for being on this trial run of Let's Get Baked with Michelle with me. I super appreciate you. And if you have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat, okay? I'm gonna try to keep an eye on that. All right, here's my melted butter that I'm going to add. I melted it in the microwave inside the stick so you can see how messy that got. But we're not gonna really care because it doesn't matter. Dun, dun, dun. There we go. And we can just kind of slide that around. If you wanted to be clean about it, get a spatula or something. That would be, you know, much tidier than this. But if you're a home baker, I mean, who cares? The baking police are not coming to watch you bake and to, be mad. Sometimes I've heard that grandmas on the internet can be really mad about like having your hair down and having rings on and having long nails. I mean, it is true that if you were doing food safety, cottage bakery, you have to watch these things. But if you're just feeding your family, I mean, the thing about your microbiome is that you share it with the people closest to you, like those that you live with and that you're baking for example. Okay. I do not hold any kind of like food safety licenses, so just so you know. It's funny what you can get, what's the word, self-conscious about here. Did you ever read The Handmaid's Tale, where the lady is like using butter to, what's the word, to moisturize her body, her face? My God. All right, we gotta wash those off now. And if you haven't seen, we have aprons. This is the Love Leaf apron, rainbow Love Leaf apron right here. Rep Your State of Mind. You can check down in the description below. My name is Michelle Crawford. I am a certified cannabis health coach and educator, and now I'm teaching baking with freshly milled flour for better gut health. At repyourstateofmind.com, I do sell these aprons, and if you're enjoying baking these cinnamon rolls with me and the fun way we're doing it, consider joining my Let's Get Baked with Michelle group, which has the Love Loaf apron, which I'm not wearing. This is the rainbow leaf apron, but go check it out. repyourstateofmind.com, the Love Loaf apron. All right, enough plugging. This is our spice mix. It has freshly ground nutmeg, cinnamon, allspice, cloves, and half a cup of sugar. And I am just, see there, finally we got to the cinnamon. We're gonna mix that together and sprinkle it all over this buttered dough that we've got going here. After that step, I'm gonna sprinkle on these pecans that I've toasted. Always toast your nuts. Does that sound funny to you? Always toast your nuts. It brings out the flavor. It tastes way better. The oils get out of the nut. They come to the surface. I mean, it's just, you'll never believe the deliciousness. And once you go and toast your nuts, you'll never go back to not toasting your nuts. That's my problem. I definitely cannot go back in lifestyle now that I, lead a cannabis lifestyle and I make medicine out of that. That's just, it's impossible to change. So I'm a teacher of it now. And then when you do this baking lifestyle change and you're baking with diverse grains for more fiber, for better health, All right, we just sprinkled that sugar all over. And now I'm gonna take these toasted pecans and sprinkle them all over. And this is how we make things delicious, people. We make them delicious. With quality ingredients, with love, with a lack of toxins. Have you heard? Have you heard about the adding of folate to tortillas? Yeah, I think that I heard there's some news that tortillas might be having to have federally mandated folate added to them, which I don't know if you're up on this, but there's this MTHFR gene that about like 60% of people in the world and Americans have. That if you're eating this folate, it's going to be a problem. It messes with your methylation, which is a biological process that your cells undergo to make energy for you. And having synthetic folate in your system that mainly comes from like your baked goods, your breads, or if you're eating a lot of tortillas, your tortillas, that could be like the source of your baked goods. Currently, tortillas do not need to have folate added to them. So, oh my God, I'm really interested in seeing this. And if you have like 60% of the population, this MTHFR gene, eating synthetic folate is not good for you. It interrupts your natural methylation system. The folate that is natural in these diverse whole grains that were milled to make the cinnamon roll dough that we're making right here, includes natural folate, which does not interfere with people who have that gene, MTHFR, whatever, at all. So keep an eye on that, folks. This is the kind of stuff that this is why I'm teaching this. It's because you need to know what's going on in your food, because food is everything. Food is medicine. I teach medicine making with cannabis. And basically, if you ask me, medicine making with baking. And I'm learning more and more about it all the time. Okay, so now we're taking the end of our cinnamon roll dough and we are tightly rolling it. This is why you wanted that to be even. We are tightly rolling that. Tightly, I mean, geez, you know, and bringing it together. When I get to the other end, you'll see that I kind of left a tiny bit of non-buttered dough at this end here so that I can lift it up and sort of attach it over here to this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna attach it. You can just roll over it, kind of go like that, and then roll it back, and then kind of, oh, nope, I don't wanna roll it back just yet. We want to attach it. It's a little hard because the dough is so buttery, but you'll never regret it when you bake it. Oh my God. You will never regret cinnamon rolls. Never, never regret cinnamon rolls. Okay, so see that where the doughs meet? Let's pinch it together. Let's pinch that sucker together. Oh my gosh, the smell on this is amazing. Amazing. Okay, now I do have a way of cutting these cinnamon rolls that helps them be more even when you finally go to bake them up. So here's our 9x13 pan, and let me demonstrate the cutting method. I like to start in the center, cutting it in 2 equal halves. It's like your brain will do better doing this half trick of cutting the cinnamon rolls than it will do cutting from one end and making sure they're even all the way through. So allow yourself to just sort of cut each piece in half. The large one, then the 2, and now each of these pieces. So we end up with 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're nice, big, fat, chunky, satisfying. That's what she said, cinnamon rolls. See that? That is so much more even, I feel like, than if I started at one end. Ask me how I know, all right? Another trick is to grab these end ones and see how they're like a rose on that side, but they're perfect on, you know, the cut side. So definitely put your end ones in, cut side down. I do a little squishing. And I like to put them at opposite corners because the first time see that? Oops, turn it down. Boop, there we go. The first time I made these cinnamon rolls, I cut them at all different lengths. They were all different sizes. And I put them in this pan and it looked like a Rocky Mountain range. Oh my God, it was hilarious. It looked like a mountain range of different heights of cinnamon rolls. Luckily, I frosted them and I brought them to my kids' basketball game and nobody was the wiser, really. It looked fine, nobody cares. But if you tend to care about those silly perfectionist details, yada, 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 that's one way to overcome it. Okay, well, look at that, you guys. Let's get baked with Michelle. We have cinnamon rolls. I hope you've learned something. We have to let these rise for an hour, which I think I'm gonna go. Although I'm super happy to see that we have some people with us. These need to rise for about an hour till they're doubled in size. Here's a big clue. You gotta preheat your oven to like 350. Cook them for about half an hour in there. And this is my tip to you. When you do that, maybe I'll start another live and put them together later. Pour some heavy cream over your cinnamon rolls and fill your 9x13 pan about 1/4 of an inch or half an inch high with the cream before you bake them. Trust me, you're gonna love it. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining me for this, trial run of Getting Baked with Michelle. Let me know your thoughts down below on my cinnamon roll extravaganza with you. And join me this January for more if you want to learn how to use your zojirushi to make multi-grain, freshly milled bread at home and replace the ultra-processed foods that are full of, oh my God, I don't know, synthetic folate, crap like that probably isn't too good for you. Let me know. Join me. Go buy the Love Loaf apron at repustateofmind.com. All right, everyone. Bye.